Hello, hello. Buenas tardes. Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning somewhere out there in the world. This is Real Talk with E.V.E. with yours truly, Eve Gomez, obviously. We thank you for joining us today, and I am dressed differently today. I don't know if you guys can see my shirt. Fit Life, health, wealth, and time to enjoy them. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We have an amazing guest today. Marta Chavez. She is a financial strategist, and I'm going to bring her up in just a minute. And this show is about real issues, real talk, first of all, about real issues with real people. And we are real people, okay? And so we're going to talk about finances, we're going to talk about taxes and solutions. And tax season is here. Some of you are probably starting to receive your 1099 soon by the end of this month or the beginning of next. So we want to talk about that. And yeah, so I'm going to bring up Marta Chavez. She's an amazing young lady. So let me bring her up. Hello there. How are you, Miss
I'm
Chavez?
wonderful. You said young lady, so even better.
Claro, of course. We're all young. Age is only a number. We are as young as we feel. And I think we feel like teenagers. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Am I speaking right? Well, guys, you guys seen this is a beautiful young lady here. She is a financial strategist. She is the owner and founder of Key Financial Solutions. And isn't that what we're talking about? Solutions. And of course, you guys are going to get her contact information here. We're going to get to find out who Marta Chavez is. Well, welcome to Real Talk with E.V.E. How are you?
Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you so much.
So, who is Marta Chavez? Where are you from? Tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I was born in Mexico in San Juan de los Lagos, Jalisco.
Órale.
Parents brought me to the U.S. when I was 6 years old, so been here ever since. And just grew up with very humble beginnings and mandated. My parents said, "Don't waste the opportunity. Go to school, do something with your life, and make us proud." So I'm very happy to say that I've accomplished those things and that I now have the honor and the privilege to care for my parents financially and be the one that gets to run them around and do all of their appointments and stuff like that. So it's truly an honor, as I said, and we have a lot of fun, so I'm very happy to be able to do that.
Oh, well, thank you for coming on. I know that we've been trying to schedule with your busy schedule, and I'm thankful that you have the space and the time for us here today to bring some solutions. And you're a financial strategist. So
Yes.
we're going to talk about a few strategies because some people are tight. And when I mean tight, as in they don't have any room for anything else other than get the check, pay the bills. Sometimes we have more debt than the money, right, at the end of the month.
Yeah.
And so I want to say, well, obviously, you know what you're doing and it's working for you. And you mentioned something that I so appreciate and I miss was taking care of my parents, right? They're not here anymore. So I know what that's like. But you need the freedom of time to do that, don't you?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I have been self-employed since 1999. And while some people might think that's scary, I actually welcome it because if I need to make more money, I just hunker down and make more phone calls and run more appointments and do more of what I do. I help more people. And if I need to take time off, then I just schedule that. And just this morning, I was on a FaceTime call with my aunt in Jalisco, and she's like, "Come down in June and stay for the whole month." And I'm like, "Well, I don't know about the whole month, but I can usually get away for 2 to 3 weeks. And since I can do everything from my laptop and a cell phone,
Nice.
it's very nice to have that freedom to be able to move and groove and do what I need to do and still do business. So that works.
Right. No, I encourage everyone and anyone that wants to have that time back, that financial freedom and the time, to be able to do what you just said, that you can just get up and go and be able to do everything virtually. That is awesome. That is, I think, a blessing, right? Within a blessing to be able to do that and also to maximize whatever you want to make.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I mean, you can't go up to your boss and say, "Hey, I had an emergency. I need an extra $1,000 this month.
Right.
What can I do? Can you give me a raise?" Or can you, most of the time it's like, "Well, your check is your check. We might be able to give you a little overtime, but, other than that, you're on your own." So people are out there getting, part-time jobs, the side hustle. 2020 was the year of the side hustle. And We're getting back to our old roots. There was a time in the US where 99% of the population owned their own businesses or had farms or horseshoes or whatever they did, but everybody basically had their own means of providing a living, and about 1% worked for someone else. And
Mm,
clearly it's kind of the other way around. But I think if nothing else, 2020 taught us that we need to be resilient, and then we need to be
right,
self-sufficient, and then we need to be able
right,
to count on our own devices and our own ideas and our own energies and our own networks to be able to
right.
survive, and not necessarily a job.
And I think that people can make it work. You're making it work. I'm making it work. I mean, I wouldn't have it any other way because we can do this from anywhere. Hey, I want to go to Hawaii. I want to go to Mexico. And we can still do this, right? So, as a financial strategist, for those that don't know that are watching here, and thank you everyone for my beautiful viewers on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Thank you for joining us. If you have any comments or questions, please jot them down under the comments. And Ms. Chavez will respond promptly as well as I will. And you'll see her information down on the bottom as well. I won't say she's for hire, but she is part of a wonderful team, and it's just a pleasure to have her, to have you part of our team as well, Martha, because you are just going places and you are just being so resilient and shining. So, for those that are watching, what is a financial strategist?
What I found out is that over the course of the last 25 years or so, I've been in the world of finance in one way, shape, or form. So I used to own a real estate company. I used to own a mortgage company. I was worked for attorneys and handled like all the bankruptcies and debt and things like that. Obviously in taxes, obviously in finances, doing the financial services now for the last 12 years. So I've always been around the money conversation. But what I realized is that in having these conversations with my clients, with my friends, with my family, I was always coming up with ways to fix things and strategies to get things done either faster or to solve an issue or to avoid an issue. And so that's where the strategist came from, because there's a lot of people that know data and that know facts and can tell you things, but they don't know how to fix them. They don't know how to give you the strategy, the plan, the step 1, 2, 3 to how to get things done. And again, either avoid a catastrophe or get out of a problem. And so that word kind of just happened. I'm a solutions finder. That's just kind of my nature. I've always been the kid and the friend that you go to when you need something fixed, you know what I mean? And so in business, it just kind of became my nature and what I did naturally. And somebody actually kind of gave me that moniker and said, whenever I need a strategy, I come to you because I have an idea, but I don't have a strategy. And you're always so good about giving me a plan. And I'm like, wow, I like that, a
Right?
strategist. And so that's how that began.
Wow. So, tell me, who's your client? What does that client look like to know I need to go to you?
Gotcha. Well, I do a lot of individual taxes, but I work with a lot of people who are either self-employed or one member LLCs or have a small business. And that seems to be number one, the people that need the most help. And number two, the ones that I know the most about to help them different ways, whether it be how to start the business. Should I be an LLC? Should I be a corporation? What's the difference? How does it work? What are the taxes around that? What is the legalities? What are the rules, right? So that's number one. Number two, how do I maximize my income? How do I lower my taxes? Just so many different strategies. How do I hire people? Or should they be a contractor? Should they be an employee? How does payroll work? All of these different questions that come up, because some people might be very good, for example, very good cook, but not necessarily a good restaurant owner. And so that's where somebody like me would come in and say, let me help you organize yourself, structure your company properly, manage the books, manage the taxes so you can do what you do best, and then make sure that your business is growing and stays growing in the right direction.
Okay. And obviously, hablas español. That's your first language, right?
Sí,
So
español
she's
es
not only
lenguaje, sí.
perfecto. She's not only helping the English speaking, but the Spanish speaking. So do you see that there's a variance in the type of client that you get from the Spanish speaking to the English speaking?
I do. Number one, I think just from a English speaking or a native born American, whether they're Latino or Caucasian, it really doesn't matter. Just a native born American, you're hearing these different types of conversations about growing a business or investing from a very young age. Most times, when you're coming from another country like myself, you're just surviving. You come here, you're working, you're doing the best you can. You're trying to acclimate yourself to this new place. You're trying to learn the rules, the language, the laws. My parents, for example, didn't know anything other than going to work and just getting by. And bless their hearts, they did that very, very well. But when it comes to now the investing piece, where do I save? How do I save? How does this all work? What's risky? What's not risky? Again, taxes, taxes, taxes. That's the one thing that I find is the most common thing that kills most investments or businesses, because people don't know what to do. And so particularly with my non-natives, I will say, it's difficult coming into a new country and not only learning a language of speaking a language, but then learning the language of these new tax rules and business rules and different things that you can and cannot do, the ones that have a social, the ones that don't have a social, what can they still accomplish, which is a lot, by the way. And just knowing what to do and who to ask for genuine help. So there is a big difference for sure.
Do you see in your experience with your clients that someone with an I-10 can actually own a business?
Absolutely, yes.
And for
Absolutely.
those that don't know what an I-10, it's actually like an I-10, a tax identification number that you get from the IRS.
Right. So basically what that number is somebody who works in the US who is undocumented, doesn't have a visa or doesn't have, residency, but they work. And so they're like, look, I know that I'm here, without the proper documentation, but I do work and I want to pay my taxes and I want to do right by this country and live honorably. So they allow them to file an income tax return and get, some, not all of the credits, just some of the credits, but at least they have, a record with the IRS so that when they do become documented or when they do want to open a business, they can show that they are a productive citizen and that they are trying to do something honorable here. So the I-10 number is just an identification number, same number of digits as a social, but it is not a social security number.
Right, right. But in the line of business that you're in, can someone with an I-10 actually be part of the business?
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome.
Yes.
That's wonderful. Yes, escucharon? You guys heard that? I'm sure we got a lot of people that are here with that I-10 number, and they're really busting their behind working at a factory, not knowing, and they probably were business owners back in their country, right?
Yep.
That they can do this. So that's great that they
can. My father was a bank manager and a hotel manager in Mexico. And when he came to the US, he worked as a bracero. So he worked in California and Arizona and different places picking cotton, strawberries, whatever kinds, oranges, lettuce, beets,
right.
All different things. And he just made do with what he could. And yes, he did work in factories and all these other labor jobs, which was fine. He didn't have a problem with that. But because he didn't have his documentation in order, when I was brought over to this country, I didn't have my documentation in order. I didn't get my documents until the amnesty in 1987. So I understand it. I've lived it. I get it. And so that's how I can have these honest and real conversations with people, because I understand it and there's no judgment or any kind of, sideways look or whatever. Like, I get it. I am you. And so I want to help. I want to help as much as I can.
That's great. And that is great information to share because I'm sure, like we just said, they're professionals back in their country. Like I met some Venezuelans and it was a whole entire family. The husband was a judge, up there in federal court in Venezuela, and their children, their kids were attorneys.
Wow.
Well, obviously when they moved here and they filed for asylum, they were asylum seekers from Venezuela. They had to work in whatever was available.
Yeah.
One, not knowing the language. Two, not having the proper documentation. So with something like this, what's What's the advantage of working in the line of business that you do with an I-10?
Well, you can be a professional. You could be white collar. You could earn multiple six figures, and it doesn't matter whether or not you have a social. So it just gives you a different opportunity to be able to create something for yourself that you have the intelligence for, you have the capability for, you have the drive and the passion for, even if you don't have the documentation, and the documentation will then come, right? But to be able to give people that opportunity to create a white collar business, not that there's anything wrong with blue collar, it's not what I'm saying, but some people would rather have a white collar business. And so this is a nice opportunity that you don't have the limitation of, well, I don't have a social that's stopping you from being able to create that dream and to achieve it.
Wonderful. Well, that's great news that they're able to do that. You guys heard from Ms. Martha Chavez. She is the financial strategist, owner of Key Financial Solutions. Her website is Key Fine, or FIN, Sol, Fin Sol for financial, right? And her phone number is 630-263-7070. Now, let's switch it up a notch, Martha. We're talking about taxes, right? And that's what you first started doing. Am I correct in the financial?
I used to do mortgages and real estate.
You did say that.
And
And
so,
then
and then,
2008, that was that.
oh gosh, yeah. So luckily I had started, God brought to me, to my lap, the opportunity to buy a tax business in 2007. I didn't want it, but here it is. And then what happened? 2008, real estate company fell apart, mortgage company fell apart. The only thing left standing is the tax office.
The one you didn't want.
One.
So I'm glad you took it.
Yes, absolutely.
And here we are, fast forward, still doing that?
Yes. It just became a beautiful opportunity to meet a ton of people where they're at, right? And you get to learn so much about them by doing their tax return. You get to find out where they work, how long they've been there, what type of investments are available for them, if any, like 401ks and things like that. You get to see their kids be born and their kids begin to work and then get married and have their own kids. And it's a really beautiful family business. And I think that's why I've stuck with it so long is you grow up with people and they grow up with you, and you genuinely become friends.
Wow, well, that's great, because now they know who to go to, right? Mom went, dad went, now my sisters are going. Now the granddaughters are going,
Right.
grandkids are going. So, and that's great, because you also do something else in the financial. We're talking about taxes right now, though, and I know that it's tax season pretty soon. They're preparing the W-2s and the 1099s as we speak, right? Which
Right.
reminds me, I got to make sure that my people get their 1099s from
Yeah.
last year. So, but it's a beautiful thing, and being self-employed, because now you as the tax preparer can tell them, well, you can write off things. What's a write-off?
So a write-off is something that you can minus away from your income so that you don't pay full income on your entire income. So let's just say that you own a consulting firm, just to make it simple, right? You do consulting and you get paid, people just write you a check, or they Zelle you, or they run a credit card. So there's no payroll involved. They just send you the money directly. You receive the money. And then at the end of the year, they give you what's called the 1099. The IRS does everything with numbers and letters.
Mm-hmm.
So the name of that particular tax form is just 1099, 1099. And that just means that you don't have payroll running through your company or your self-employed home-based business, and that you just get paid without taxes being taken out. So what that means then is that you are responsible for paying not just the income taxes at the end of the year, but also self-employment taxes. So two different taxes going on. Self-employment tax by itself is 15.43%. And then, of course, you've got state tax depending on where you live. And so it could be 15 to 20%. And so out of every 1,000, if you figure 200 of that is going to go to taxes, just self-employment, you may have even more income taxes on top of that. So if you can do write-offs that minuses away that gross income, and you're only going to pay self-employment tax on the net after expenses. So your expenses could be something like your office rent, your cell phone if you use that for business, Wi-Fi, your computers, your copier, your printer, miles driving back and forth to see clients or to run business, uniforms. I mean, I actually have, and if people would like it, I would be happy to provide. I have a list of 101 write-offs that people can use if they're self-employed or a one-member LLC. And I'm happy to just give
Wow.
that away to your audience, Eve, since you're such a wonderful person. I'm sure they're wonderful too. So
Oh, definitely. And you know,
provide that.
pandemic switched things. Where is our office nowadays? Some of us actually left the office, as in the four walls outside your home, and created the office now in your home,
Correct.
which is what I'm doing. Because I mean, I was only paying rent for leasing the office only when I saw a client, but I was always out in the field. So to me, that was like a waste. But then pandemic hit, many others became self-employment, self-employed, created their own business. Is that still considered their office as a write-off?
It is. It is considered an office, but here's the ticket. If you have a W-2 job, if you work for a company that pays you a W-2, a payroll check, even if you have a home office and you bought a computer and a desk and all of this stuff, if you have a payroll job, you cannot write any of that off.
Mm,
Zero, nothing. But if you have a side business, whatever that is, it doesn't matter. You could bake cakes, you could have a daycare, you could paint. It doesn't matter. Just some sort of side business where you're outside of the payroll system. You are self-employed now. Now that home office and everything in it can be written off as a business expense for your business.
nice. And so, as financial strategists, financial planners, or us in the financial, as my shirt says, FinFit life,
Yes,
we can get all these wonderful write-offs.
correct.
And Martha just said she's going to share 100 and how many?
101.
101. So if you guys are interested, please jot down your email address on the chat wherever you're from. If you're on LinkedIn, if you're on the YouTube channel or Facebook, please jot down your contact information or inbox us,
Mhm.
and to get this wonderful information. And I'm sure she'd be glad to help you with any other tax
Absolutely.
questions. She is the financial strategist. So if you feel like you don't know where to go, what I'm going to do, I'm new at a business, she's your contact right here. And her phone number is, what's her number?
630-263-7070.
And your website?
It's keyfinsoul.com. So my email is just martha@keyfinsoul.com.
And you guys see that information on the bottom of the screen as well. Martha, we're doing something great, and that's, we call it a crusade, we call it a movement.
Yes.
We have a few minutes left. I know that you're a busy person, and our shows are technically 30 minutes long. You want to share some of that information? What is it that we do? What is it that you do besides taxes?
Of course. So FinFit Life is one of the companies that even I represent and work for. And it is a newer company, but what we have done is we have fused together, married together two very big ideas. So if I asked any one of you right now, do you want to be financially fit? You know, most of us would say, yes, I want to improve my finances. And then, of course, it's January. So do you want to be physically fit? Do you want to improve your health? Pretty much everybody, right? So our founder, Howard Scharfman, some years ago, was very, very successful in business. But unfortunately, he was very unhealthy in his body. He was over 300 pounds and just not a healthy individual. So he started taking a soul spin class. And the spin instructor would always say, if you don't have your health, you have nothing. And he said, well, that's partially true. Because I'm pretty, successful, but I'm not healthy. So you're right. I do need to be healthy. But what if you were super healthy and you didn't have any money and your finances weren't where they should be? Then you're not going to have any fun, right? So
Right.
let's fix both of those things and let's have one conversation around both of those ideas. And so that's where FinFit comes from, financial and fitness fused together, and then having the lifestyle to enjoy both. So our movement is teaching people how to improve not just their physical health, but also their financial health, and giving them an opportunity to have the lifestyle to enjoy both.
Wow. And now's the time. I mean, we've sat long enough. I call it the COVID belly for of us needed to lose it.
Yes.
There's something special about this movement, though.
Yeah.
Why should I get fit? Why should I continue to walk? Why should I? Well, first of all, going to a doctor, which we're already doing, going to the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what do we gain out of this and being part of this movement?
Right. So not only should we be doing that, right, being proactive on our own health and getting our exams and our preventive care and walking and drinking water and eating healthy, but what if I told you that you could get rewarded for doing all of those things, Eve? What if I told you that you could get a free wearable? I'm a Samsung person, so but if you're an iPhone person, you could get a free, or I'm sorry, almost free $25 iWatch Series 8 right now.
That's almost free compared
Coming
to the price.
be pretty close to free considering how much they cost.
Yeah, yeah, for
I
real.
told you that you could also get $50 a month to buy healthy groceries
What?
and then gain points and rewards, just like mileage cards. You know,
Wow.
when you buy stuff and you get free miles, that you could gain points, that you get 50% off hotels, $50 off groceries, like I said, gift
Yeah.
cards and discounts, a wearable. I mean, just a slew of rewards just for being healthy, either getting healthy or staying healthy. Would that be something that you would want to hear more about?
Wow. So you're offering all of this, but then you're offering something else, and I think that's protection too, right? I
Absolutely.
mean,
Yeah. So not only are we teaching people and incentivizing them to get healthier, because people will do just about anything to get rewarded. I have a girlfriend who gets 2 cents, 2 cents off gas if she goes to a particular gas station, and she
hey,
literally drive all the way across town to go to that one gas station to get 2 cents off her gas. So I find that to be pretty cute. But then she's like, well, yeah, but you will go to Starbucks just because you get a ding on your phone and it says they're giving you extra stars. And I'm like, well, that's true. I do that. So, I mean, we all do a lot of things to get rewarded, and it feels good to get rewarded. But what if I told you that we would also then teach you how to not just protect your money from market losses, taxes, which
mm,
is the biggest culprit in eating away at our accounts, but we
mhm.
also protect it from lawsuits and bankruptcy and divorce, and FAFSA would never see these accounts so that your children could get FAFSA awards. And what if I told you that all of this could be done and you protect your family, that Lord forbid something happened to you earlier than you expect, and now you're gone and your paycheck stops, that we
Mm.
could continue to give a paycheck to your family every single month for the rest of their lives because you protected your money ahead of time before God took you home. So what if you could learn all of those things and then on top of that get rewarded for just walking and drinking water and sleeping 8 hours? I mean, I think that's pretty phenomenal.
I think so too. I mean, who out there incentivizes something that you're already doing? And then wait, don't you get like money back or a discount or wait, uh, a percentage to
You,
go back into your premium?
you
I-
do. Not
Am I
only
understanding that right?
do. Yes. So not only do you get the rewards via points, but then as you hit these milestones, you also get premium discounts. So these accounts are tied to a life insurance policy. And the reason that we use a life insurance policy is, again, going all the way back to taxes. As I told you earlier, the IRS does everything through numbers and letters, right? So a 1099, a W-2, that's just the name of those forms. But have you ever heard of like a 401k or a 529 or a 403b? All of those?
Mhm.
All of those are just tax code. A 401k, let me grab it. See this book? This is the tax code. You see
Wow.
all these little letters? So tax code number 401-K is what tells your employer how to tax that.
Wow.
529, right? So there's a tax code way in the back of the book, 7,702. So tax code 7702 that tells that if you have a cash value account inside of a life insurance policy, by tax law,
Mm.
that money is not considered an investment. And because it's not considered an investment, it's not going to lose money in the market. You don't have to wait to be 59 and a half to use it. There's no early withdrawal penalties. You use after tax money, so there's no after tax later when you're elderly and trying to get at that money. There's no taxes. There's no
Mm.
RMDs. There's no again, if you pass away and you have a 401k, yes, your children can be the beneficiaries, but guess what? They have to pay capital gains tax on that. And that could be upwards of 40%. So how would what would that make you feel if you work your whole life to save money in an account? You didn't get to spend it. you hope your kids would get to spend it, but your grimy old Uncle Sam comes in and takes 40% of it, and
Yeah.
you never intended for that to happen. I'm sure that's nobody's intention. So if you instead saved inside of these cash value accounts that we help people structure, the tax law says that not only do your kids get 100% of your cash penalty-free, tax-free, but on top of that, they also get a tax-free and penalty-free death benefit. So
Tax free. That's the
tax
intimate word.
free,
Intimate word. Free.
what would you rather them have? 60%
Mm,
of your 401k or 100% of your savings
come on.
plus a tax-free death benefit, all with one decision. And you get rewarded for, again, walking and working out and eating healthy and sleeping. I mean, it's all one
Wow.
wonderful conversation that we can explain in English y en español. So,
I love it. Well, that's a great way.
how not only you can help yourself, but you can help your children and your children's children and your children's children's children by just being proactive.
Mm. And that's what it says in the Bible. And the children's children and the children's children's children.
Yes.
Just build a legacy, people, and it's tax-free incentives. That's wonderful. Well, that's going to be for another chapter, another time to bring in Marta Chavez. We're out of
the consultation.
what?
We'll have these conversations with folks, and we don't charge anything to teach you, show you, and guide you. I mean, I don't know what more we could do other than for me to share my coffee, which I am sorry is not going to happen. But other than that, it's all just free. We love to help. We love to teach. We love to empower. And again, I want to have conversations with people because nobody had them with my parents. And my parents' retirement would be very, very different. There was an occasion where I went over to see my mom one Saturday morning, and she just didn't look good. She looked like something was off, and it took me a couple hours for her to finally let out the bag that she was sick and she was having kidney issues. And I said, Mom, why didn't you say anything? I mean, I have 7 siblings. There's 8 of us. I said, between all of us, we got you. We're going to take care of you. And she's crying. She's like, I'm so embarrassed. I said, why are you embarrassed of being sick? She said, I'm not embarrassed of being sick. I'm embarrassed that I don't even have the money to pay for a medicine, and I have to bother and inconvenience my kids. Wow. And it made her so angry, and then it made me angry. And then I realized she shouldn't be embarrassed because she didn't know what to do. Nobody ever told her. If
not knowing, you know, and here we are offering all this information for free. And you guys have her information. So we want you to get educated. We're sharing this knowledge. Use it. Do something with it. Don't just take it and let it sit. Get in touch with us. Get in touch with Martha. You see her information is there. KeyFinSol.com, 630-263-7070. So we've gone over a little bit of time, but that's because we're going to have to bring you back again. There's so much information out there to share. Yes. She's talking about nothing but solutions, people. Stop talking about the problem. Let's find a solution for you. That's right. With that, thank you once again so much for coming on Real Talk with E.V.E, Martha, and we'll see you soon.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much. Bye now. Well, you guys heard it from the financial strategist, and she's just amazing. And I love having her to be part of the team, and it's just great to talk about solutions. And if I have the information, I'm not going to keep it to myself. It just does not make sense. It really does not make sense. And the reason why I say it doesn't make sense that because I know it and I don't share it, I'm being selfish. And I do not want to be selfish. So whatever I know, I am going to share here with you at Real Talk with E.V.E. And with that, guys, my time is up. I've been here a little longer than expected, but I felt the need to share this information with you because if you have not, because you've asked not. So ask away, comment. If you want more information, we're going to set up a strategy plan with you and for you. So contact me. You guys know how to reach me on LinkedIn, on social media. I'm everywhere. I am your social media guru. And of course, I am thankful to be here and be part of change. It says, be the change you want to see, right? So, with that, guys, I got to go. Nos vemos hasta la próxima. Till next time. Peace to you. God bless. Have an awesome weekend.